Anna, and I'm here for Triumphant Tuesdays. I'm sorry about my appearance. I just feel like filming now, and I have to wear a ponytail for work, so my hair is often all crazy when I take it out of the ponytail, but it is what it is. So I wanted to film when I wanted to and when I thought I could get the best video out of it. But anyway, this week's topic is finding strength and self-challenge, and really crediting yourself for challenging your eating disorder. And that's a really hard thing to do because there's so many different theories on why people have eating disorders or why they start or what they're about. But I think something that all of us can agree on and many experts agree on is the fact that they are somewhat biologically based and they are brain diseases and they're mental illnesses. So if you're challenging your eating disorder, you're challenging what your brain is telling you to do. And that is such an incredibly hard thing to do. But a lot of times people with eating disorders have trouble being happy about their success and following their meal plan or abstaining from other symptoms and things like that because they feel guilty and they still feel drawn to their eating disorders. So being able to separate yourself from that is a really good accomplishment, but it's really hard to it's really hard to feel proud of yourself for that because it's such a hard thing to do. It's so hard to go against what your brain is telling you to do. Because I mean, with my particular eating disorder, anorexia, it was really hard for me to eat because my brain was always telling me not to. So it was really hard for me to be happy or genuinely happy when I did eat. I would pretend to be happy because I knew that was what I was supposed to be doing, but I wasn't genuinely happy for a really long time. And something that helped me be genuinely happy was realizing that there are two worlds. There's the sick world and there's the recovered world, and sick people, they're not as happy. And what really helped me when I was trying to challenge my eating disorder was the fact that I realized that all of those sick girls were really miserable, and then on the other side I saw recovered people that were living lives. So I knew that they had started from where I was and obviously had made it out. And so that helped me because I was like, okay, well, if I have a brain disease and my brain is telling me to do the wrong thing, so my brain's not going to be accurate, so I need to go against it and I need to reach out for support and things like that. I'm also going to talk about some of the other challenges that I've had difficulty giving myself credit for, because I like to keep these videos relatable to life. One of my favorite people is Carolyn Costin. I think she's amazing and has an amazing treatment model with Monte Nido and some other residential treatment programs that she does. But she always talks about what you're recovering to, and I think that was hard for me when I was recovering, because it's if I give this up, who am I, or what am I, or will my problems be legitimate, or will people still love me, or will they help me? So I like to keep my videos relevant to life, so even if you're not currently struggling, you can still watch them and get something out of them, and if you are, you can kind of see what regular life is like. The first thing I had trouble giving myself credit for was actually my own recovery, because I didn't actually go to any type of treatment until I was about 23, and I considered myself recovered when I was 25. But I'm 28 now, so I've been recovered for about 3 years. But when I first recovered and was doing well, I wasn't proud of it. And the reason is I was if I was sicker, then I would have gone to the hospital and my parents would have helped me. And my parents actually didn't really help me at all. And I'm not really sure why. They're amazing people. I just don't think that they have had the ability to help me through my eating disorder, but they're wonderful people and I have a good relationship with them now. But I always felt my eating disorder wasn't good enough, and so I felt because I recovered, I had failed the eating disorder, but I never gave myself credit for recovering. And when I think about that, and I was thinking about this when I wanted to make this video, I was well, why was that? Why didn't I give myself credit for recovering? And I thought, one, it was because I thought I failed the eating disorder. So that I didn't deserve it because, you know, people hadn't intervened. Like, I didn't end up in a hospital. Like, it wasn't a very dramatic story in a traditional sense. So I just felt like my eating disorder wasn't good enough, and I was giving up my eating disorder before it got really bad. But that actually wasn't true because something happened right before my 25th birthday. And I consider my 25th birthday, which was May 24th, 2009, my I Choose to Live day. Something really happened, and then with my eating disorder, I realized that I had to either recover or die. And I mean, that's true with any eating disorder, really. Like, they lead to death. They have the highest mortality rate of any mental illness possible, or they lead to suicide or just miserable life. So really, I mean, you do have to recover or die, but I think my particular story brings that into clearer focus just because I didn't have a lot of help. Like, I didn't have people, like, rushing out to save me or being, like, freaked out when I did behaviors and stuff. I didn't have any of that. So, because I only went to therapy and stuff, I thought I didn't do my eating disorder well enough, and I was giving up before I had, you know, completed my eating disorder. Well, that sounds really messed up even when I say that. But I started giving myself credit for my recovery when I realized, like, what I had overcome. Because before that, like, before treatment, I had an eating disorder for 8 years. And I mean, a really bad one too when I think about it. And I'm not going to go into details because I don't think that's helpful. But I mean, it was a really severe one. And the fact that I worked really hard and just, you know, had an outpatient therapist and tried really, really hard. And the fact that I made it and that I consider myself recovered today is amazing. That's not usually how it happens, and that's not usually statistically how it works, but it proves that I'm not a statistic and nobody is, and if you set your mind to it, you can do anything. And now I really am proud of myself for that. But if you're not proud of yourself, like, you kind of have to ask yourself why. And honestly, like, I feel like I would have been proud of myself for, like, recovering if I had gone to, like, an eating disorder program or something and someone had helped me more, because I would have felt like I was, like, worthy of recovering then, and then it was noticeable that I had an eating disorder, whereas I didn't feel like it was noticeable before. But really, when I thought about it, like, a lot of things have to align for you to be able to go to that level of care. You have to have the money. You have to have parental support. Like, there has to be a lot that's available to you, and that wasn't available to me, but that doesn't make my eating disorder any less legitimate. So when I started realizing that, I started being really proud of myself for what I had accomplished. And another thing that I'm really proud of myself for is, like, being able to walk, because when I was 3 years old, as I mentioned in my first intro video, that I basically decided that I wasn't going to use my walker and I was going to learn to walk. But when I was older and when I was a teenager, like, I wasn't proud of that because I walked differently than everybody else. And it wasn't until a couple years ago, there's this lady that I absolutely love. Like, she has cerebral palsy too. Like, she's amazing, but one of her favorite quotes is, "I walk differently because I survived." And I mean, my cerebral palsy proves that I'm a survivor, so I may walk differently. But I used to be embarrassed of how I walked, so I was never proud of myself that I learned to do it, because in my mind, because I'm a perfectionist, I'm like, well, Brianna, you didn't learn to do it correctly. If you had learned to do it correctly, then you could be happy about it. But I'm just lucky I can walk at all. So I started giving myself more credit for that too. And you have to ask yourself, like, whether you can control, like, the outcome of a situation. Like, I can't control my cerebral palsy, and I can't control, like, the level of treatment I got for my eating disorder because I used what was available to me. So for me to be proud of myself, I was depending on other people to make myself proud of myself, and you can't do that. Like, you have to be proud of yourself on your own. And another thing that I'm actually working through and struggling to be proud of myself, like, I just became a certified pharmacy tech, and if you watch one of my other videos, I talk about, like, what you had to do to become one. And anyway, it's really hard, so I'm really proud of myself for that. But one thing that holds me back from being really proud of myself is that I don't have a job as a pharmacy tech yet, but I'm trying to remind myself that that doesn't void the fact that I am a pharmacy tech and I eventually will find a job, but me finding a job, like someone giving me a job, but that has to do with somebody else. Like, I can't control whether someone gives me a job. I can apply for jobs, which I'm doing, but I can't control what if somebody gives me a job. Like, that's up to someone else, but I can still be proud of myself for what I did. And we really have to start giving ourselves credit and not giving into low self-esteem and realizing that we are valuable people. And we can all do that, and it's such an important step in life to realize your own worth, and it will help you in recovery. And I hope this video made sense because it was kind of rambly, but I tried, and I hope you liked it. Have a great night. Love you guys.